It's Tuesday, March 11th. I'm Scott.
I'm Rim.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, the side-scrolling beat-em-up games. Let's do this.
You know, surprisingly, we haven't played Brawl at all yet today.
I played it yesterday for a bit, and that, subspace emissary thing, I don't think I'm even 20% done with it, according to the number in the top right. How long does it take to beat? Goddamn.
I'm gonna let Scott go through all that, and I'm just gonna play normal Smash Brothers.
Yeah, Rim can't be trusted to play co-op mode.
I believe the lack of trust here is very simple. You see, Scott can't be trusted to not suck at the co-op mode.
I'm sure.
I mean, every time we try to play River City Ransom or something, we'll be playing, and I'll be doing well, and Scott will just... It's not like he does it on purpose. He just lacks, skill. But he'll constantly just hit
I lack
me.
so much skill, that's why I beat the game on
He'll
hard.
hit me, and he'll hurt me, and he'll knock me over. River City Ransom, he'll constantly just, hit me with a pipe or knock me with a brass knuckle or something. He'll throw a tire at a wall, and it hits me in the back. He'll kick me. He'll punch me. He'll run off the screen.
I'm punishing you for sucking.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm doing just fine. So, you see, Scott misses and hits me. I never miss. But sometimes I hit Scott, and that is in retaliation for him not pulling up his end of the bargain. Boss fights are much easier if I throw Scott off the cliff than beat the boss by myself.
Yeah, I'm sure, because, I can beat River City Ransom just fine on my own, but when you're there, not so much. On Gauntlet, I can beat just fine on my own, except when you're there, shooting all the food.
Gauntlet, for one, is actually a pretty shitty game.
We're not arguing that right now, but do you or do you not shoot all the food in Gauntlet, thus preventing anyone from having a good chance of doing well?
I think a much more apt example in Gauntlet is when, as a warrior, I push you into every single slime and death we run across.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
See, that's different, though. That's Gauntlet.
No, it's all the same. You cannot be trusted as a partner in co-op games.
Just Gauntlet.
We really want to play co-op games, but Rim can't seem to play and actually try to win. Rim just tries to kill all the other players in grief.
Yet how come whenever we play Four Swords, who gets voted all the way the fuck down?
Because you grief. That's all you do is you shoot me with the fire rod, and then you vote against me.
But there's two other people, and they're also voting against you, so something.
Because you're just all laughing together voting against me, even though I helped the most, and I got the most gemmies.
Everyone is out to get you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're not out to get me. You're just, it's not like, haha, evil. It's like, haha, funny.
But that's not, no.
It's like, haha, funny, let's vote against Scott every time, lol.
But we don't do that. We vote against you because you're a cock.
No.
You throw us into the water.
Yeah, you know what? You know how I'm a cock? Because the whole time I'm going, you morons, why aren't you trying to win? Why are you shooting each other with a fire rod? God damn it, let's try to win. God damn it.
See, that's the thing. There's, whenever I do grief, it is very much intentional. However, in that one mission, we have to avoid the searchlights. I remember specifically a moment where Scott yelled and yelled and yelled at Pete for making a mistake and having to go back to the beginning. And while he was yelling at him, Scott just fucking stood there, and the searchlight got him.
Hey,
what?
I think basically what the issue was there is that we had got caught by the searchlights, right? But then I didn't realize right away that the reason the searchlights caught us was not because... I thought it was just because someone else is stupid and walked into them, but I didn't realize it was because the smashing of the pots attracts them, and then... So, yeah. Once I learned that lesson, I did not mess up again.
Anyway, this isn't really news, but I'll talk about it briefly. As you may know, Scott and I are going to be at PAX.
Done. We have guaranteed. It's a lock.
Barring death or catastrophe.
We will be in Seattle near the end of August for an event of Penny Arcade exhibitioning.
There is a small chance, but not a zero chance, that we will be engaged in some sort of events at PAX.
Yeah, we have no idea, basically. We said please, and we're waiting for them to say maybe.
Yeah, PAX is kind of different from other cons. I mean, I look at my con resume.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah,
a little bit video game, a little bit other side of the country.
Also, not quite formatted the way anime cons are. I mean,
not so much.
You can't just run the same kind of panels you're on at these little anime cons as you can at something like PAX.
No, not really.
But yeah, we're working on it. We're going to try to do some awesome stuff for you guys there, and there'll be much more details to come as time goes on.
We'll find out.
So what do you got in the news for me, since I have nothing else today?
I'm not sure if I did this news on the show before. I don't remember.
I think you were gonna do it the night we got fucked and stuck in the city, and then Emily saved us with the Amtrak.
Well, I don't remember, but this is from February 12th, and if I did this news before, oh well, tough shit, you'll have to hear it again. It doesn't matter, because this is a news that everyone should read, and it's sort of I think it's really important, so it's worth even if I talk about it twice. Basically, the story is here. There's a sort of a casual, in quotes, I'm not sure how much I'm liking that term now, gaming company. They make video games, right? And basically they realized that like 92% of the people playing the full version of their game online, right? Because it was an online game. They knew how many people were playing it. 92% of the people playing the full version online had pirated it.
Think about that. That's not even like the majority. That's not even a lot. The vast, unmitigated majority of people playing that game had pirated it for free.
That's an overwhelming amount.
Like, you could basically say pretty much everyone playing that game was pirating it.
And you would not be exaggerating that much. So, what did they do? Of course, they tried some DRMs, right? So they pumped up the DRM, and then they looked how many people were playing, and they pumped up the DRM, and they looked how many people were playing, right? And they sort of kept track the whole time. Now, this isn't a very good scientific study, for real science or whatever, because it's only a sample size of one game, not too many controls, that sort of thing. But basically, if you look at these numbers, it's pretty obvious that at least for this one game, that okay, let me try to say this properly. For every 1,000 pirated copies they sort of blocked with DRM, they got one sale. So anyone who's like, oh no, you pirated 1,000 copies of my thing, I lost 1,000 times the sale price. No, you lost like 1 times the sale price for every 1,000 because...
This brings up a very interesting issue, because in the anime world, in the technology world, this is becoming a debate and an issue to the point that we could talk about it validly on all 4 nights of Geeknights. It's pervading every possible kind of media.
I think that what this shows is something that I had suspected for quite a while. All right? Picture this. You're at a carnival, right? And you're walking down the street, okay? And a guy says, hey, come in and see the bearded lady, $1, right? Well, at the price of $1, right, some people will see the bearded lady and some people will not see the bearded lady. At the price of $2, even fewer people will see the bearded lady. This is basic economics here, right? The higher the price, the few people who will pay to see the bearded lady, right? Now, the thing is that there is so much media and so much stuff, right, that it's gotten to the point where there are some things, in fact, most things, where, for free, for $0, just about anyone will at least take a peek at the bearded lady, right? But once you raise the price to $1, it's like, well, I'd like to see the bearded lady, but I don't want to see it that bad that I'll pay money. It's like, if you give something away for free, even if it's not that good, even if it's kind of tons and tons of people will check it out because it doesn't cost them any money. But as soon as there's a price on it, no one wants it. So the assumption that someone pirating it would have bought it if it wasn't free, if they couldn't pirate it, is complete horseshit. If the game wasn't piratable, if they couldn't pirate the anime, if they couldn't get the fan sub, they just wouldn't watch. They wouldn't play. They wouldn't. It's like. They like it enough to do it for free, but they don't like it enough to pay anything for it.
Now, again, don't read into this in terms of thinking like, oh, so piracy's okay, blah, 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 because that's not what we're saying. That's not even close to what we're getting at. The point here is just that there's so much media of every possible kind, so much entertainment available in the world today, in the modern industrialized world, that the cost of obtaining any given form of entertainment, or the value people are willing to give up, the opportunity cost people are willing to expend, is approaching zero. Like, look at YouTube. How many people would even consider going to YouTube if it cost anything to see a video on YouTube?
Yeah, it's like, I'll watch a video of a cat bouncing around for free. If it was $1, no one would watch it.
If it was a penny, no one would watch it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this is an interesting problem because even further, you can't compete with the past. I mean, consider, people always say, and again, not condoning piracy, and this is kind of a sad example, but seriously, if you think about this, consider every single book that has ever been written that's in the English language today. Now, let's say that due to piracy and used book sales, no one from this day forward ever buys a new book again or in any way contributes to the livelihood of an author. Ever, ever, ever again. There are still more good books in existence than any human being could read in their entire life.
Yep.
Now, that's not to say, oh, well, therefore we should stop making books. That's ludicrous.
That is ludicrous because there's definitely room for more good books.
But what it's saying is that because of the retention of data in society today, and because of the availability of access to information and across all mediums, we're getting to the point where you don't just compete with, like, if I write a novel or I make a video game, I'm not just competing with the Scott who wrote a novel or Scott who wrote a video game. I'm competing directly with every video game maker or every author who has ever existed. And that competition gets to think about that. Think about trying to compete. There are already hundreds of thousands of things that are better than anything I will ever do, already out there, already done. A lot of them are already available for free.
Yeah, so if you try to charge money for your new thing, it's better be fucking awesome, or basically people are going to walk by and you're standing there saying, bearded lady, $5. They're just like, fuck you, man. I'd go in there for free, but not for $5.
Besides, there's a stubbly lady over there for nothing.
Yeah, but if they walk by and you say, holy shit, something fucking awesome, I can't think of anything right now. I don't know, vampire cars, right? Vampire car, $5. People go, vampire car, no fucking way, and they pay $5 because it's so awesome. So
vampire car?
I just tried to think of something awesome. Vampires are okay, cool cars are cool. Vampire car,
that's not bad.
Yeah,
I mean, that's up there with the naked car.
No, it's better than naked car.
Well, the thing is, I've already seen a naked car, so I'm not going to pay to see another naked car.
Yeah, you don't want to see. You pay to not see a naked car.
If I hadn't seen the naked car, I would have been a happier person.
Yeah, true. But basically, it's getting to the point where if you don't make something holy shit awesome, it's not worth the money of a whole lot of people, especially people who are internet connected. And
this isn't just like, oh, Ribbon Scott saying this or, oh, people saying this. We have evidence now.
We have a little bit of evidence. So we should someone should really do a study along these lines to figure out, sit people down in front of choices.
But there's more evidence.
This thing is $0. This thing is $5. Pick one.
Because I remember when Napster first got wiped out, because Napster kind of suddenly disappeared. There was a gap between when Napster went down and when non-techie normal people could once again get access to peer-to-peer stuff. And I'm reasonably certain that CD sales did not increase at all in that time.
Maybe.
And again, I don't know what to do about this. I mean, it's one thing to tell the anime industry, look, you say piracy's ruining you, but if you eliminated all piracy, you probably wouldn't see a single additional sale than you see now.
They see a handful of additional sales.
Maybe 5 or 6, maybe 7. How many people, how many punk kids are honestly going to pay $20 per DVD for One Piece if they can't get it free? Instead, they'll just watch Cat jumping on a trampoline on YouTube, or they'll go play the video game they already own.
Yeah.
They'll go buy think about this.
If they couldn't watch it for free, they just wouldn't watch. If it wasn't $0 to see the bearded lady, they would just walk right by the bearded lady tent and never see the bearded lady.
I could spend the next 5 years of my life playing all the amazing Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 2 games that cost a couple dollars each to get that I just never played because I never had time.
Yep.
So that really reduces the incentive to buy a new game.
Yep.
Anyway, in other news, this is related to gaming, partly in that I know a lot of gamers are fans of this and that's kind of the demographic they go after, and also because it is in and of itself a game. BattleBots. I'll talk about BattleBots.
You're talking about the real BattleBots, that was on TV way back?
Yeah, BattleBots, that show that everyone was really excited about, and then once it came on, everyone realized how absolutely lame it was.
Man, that's really old. That was on when I was in high school, right?
The long story short is that they struck a deal with ESPN, and it looks like it's going to be on ESPN2 again.
Well, ESPN2 is, full of like Trick Pool and other stuff like that. So
Trick Pool is so much cooler than BattleBots.
Oh, it definitely is, but it's, it's not out of the realm for BattleBots to also be on the same channel as the Trick Shot Pool.
But a lot of people are excited about this.
Trick Shot Billiards, sorry.
But I'm going to say this. This is kind of a sneaky way of getting a review in, because this is something that was really big when I was in high school. BattleBots is really dumb, and I've never found it entertaining.
Well, BattleBots' trademark is really dumb.
Yes, robots fighting is amazing.
Robots fighting is awesome. The idea of robots fighting is awesome.
You get all the fun of making bugs fight without the horror of making living beings fight.
Yep.
You make mechanical beings fight with rockets.
The on paper BattleBots, like the greatest thing ever. But in reality, the actual show BattleBots, the actual rules, the actual game/sport of BattleBots, not cool.
Yeah, did anyone out there actually enjoy watching BattleBots?
I'm sure someone did.
Especially the later seasons. I'm really curious to hear why, because it was so unentertaining and so slow and so pathetic. Now, what I really want to talk about here is how to make BattleBots awesome. This will be real short.
We need a lot fewer rules because they put way too many limits on the robots. They should have let you go hog wild. Remember, I'm talking like chainsaws, guns,
I understand.
Like pneumatic pistons.
No, I understand no projectiles. That makes sense.
Oh, come on, projectiles for the win.
No, you want melee.
Trebuchet on wheels.
Yeah, but no, because I don't like that. Because then you got to make all these rules about ammo and all that.
I would have like sort of a helicopter thing with big weights on the end. We just ram like wham right in the side of you, like a big spinning thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I always like the idea of like a cattle stunner, a captive bolt. I really like the idea of
that.
But
That's a good
anyway,
one.
I never saw a BattleBot that was cool, and BattleBots was so lame. Now
there were a few. The best ones were the ones that would scoop. They were so low to the ground, they would scoop up under the opposing robot, and then they had buzzsaws on their top. So when the opposing robot was on top of them, it would get all cut up. Those are the best ones.
I think the real problem with BattleBots, aside from the restrictive rules, was the fact that it was really kind of amateur, backyard, whatever. Now,
yeah, those robots controlled so imprecisely. Like they would hobble around. They weren't like, the controls weren't dead on. If I was making a robot, I would have the controls be so tight. I would concentrate on that more than anything. How many times do people make robots that had like swinging attack arms and the arms like miss every time? It's like, or they'd like try to rotate it into position and it wouldn't quite work.
Also, the so-called damage zones or whatever were totally lame and weak. My idea of a damage zone is a plate, and above that plate is a 100-pound weight that is smashing down repeatedly and continuously as hard as it can.
Yeah, you might. That might be hard to maintain that weight. But even so, it's still that would be much better.
Just something cool. I don't know, pits, fire, acid, something.
There definitely needs to be fire involved.
Because that was also the thing. The BattleBots didn't show enough damage or weren't able to be constructed in such a way as to cause enough damage to be interesting. Now, here is the simplest, most obvious solution. Kick out the kids and the backyard bullshit. Why don't they have the bored engineers at IBM and the free engineers at Lockheed Martin and military contractors? I'm talking make BattleBots F-1. I want to see bored engineers from IBM making death machines that fight against equally awesome death machines from Lockheed Martin.
I want them to have to do this shit in the middle of like the desert where no one will get killed because it's so fucking dangerous. I want to see like 6 foot tall, like freaking holy shit, it's a tank on legs.
I want to see like EMPs. I want this to be awesome, and BattleBots is not awesome.
I want to see like a robot that like walks over really quickly, like has a prehensile hands, rips the head off the other robot, like connects to its internal circuitry, jams the remote control signal, makes the other robot turn around and kill the person controlling it. Oh wait, scratch that last part.
Yeah, but
that would be good in the cartoon though.
I think you see where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, it is time for Things of the Day.
Oh, that wasn't your thing of the day?
No, that wasn't my thing of the day.
Okay, let me do my thing of the day.
All right, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the Choose Your Own Adventure books, right?
Oh, those books. The best part about those books was dying.
Yeah, there's actually an interview with the guy who created the Choose Your Own Adventure books on the Comic Geek Speak podcast. They did it a long time ago, but it's a great interview.
I was glad that everyone read those books the way I did. You have like 4 fingers and 4 different pages.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're going back and forth.
Oh yeah. But anyway, some guy made a little graph, like a in the computer science sense of the Choose Your Own Adventure book. It starts at page 1. And it's sort of, it's like, okay, then you go to page 2. It's the only place you can go. Then 3 is the only place you can go. Then you go to 4 or 6. And he has every ending labeled. So it's like there are 121 pages, 36 endings, 12 full-page illustrations, 1 start page, 44 choices, 33 continuing pages, which are just pages that say, go to the next page. And some of these endings you can look, and they're pretty funny, and the really good endings are really far away from the start. And the thing that really makes me laugh the most is on page 113 you have a choice. It will either send you to page 120 or 121. Page 120, Cousins Rich. That's the ending. Page 121, Rich. It's like on the final page, you choose between you're rich and your cousins are rich.
I think, man, I have so many memories.
This is the same book where the ending could be Free Ghost or Witch Dies.
I remember one
or
in particular.
Die in Tomb.
Where you get captured. If this one ending, I forget which Choose Your Own Adventure it was. And it's pretty much you spend the rest of your life in the prison planet. And then it's like the end. Or if you want to try and escape, go to page whatever. And on page whatever, you fucking get shot to death.
Here's another funny one from this book. The book is, by the way, the book he made a graph of is The Mystery of Chimney Rock. On page 10...
I remember that one.
It was page 10-something. I can't tell, right? And on page 10-something, you have a choice. You can either look back or don't look back.
You don't want to look back.
If you don't look back, it sends you to the page you're currently on, and you just repeat the page you're on. If you look back, you die. So it's basically, don't look back, don't look back, don't look back, don't look back. Eventually, you look back, you die.
Man, someone needs to revitalize and bring back Choose Your Own Adventure books.
They are. The guy who originally made them is doing it.
Where? I never see this.
They're in the store. Go to Borders or whatever. Go on Amazon. Search Choose Your Own Adventure. You'll find.
Man. Oh, man.
You gonna buy some kitty books?
I think we're gonna do a Thursday or yeah.
All right, well, get on that.
Anyway, so you might have seen this video. This video is on College Humor. It's on YouTube. It's on Dig. It's all over the place. But so I'll set the scene for you. You know when you're a kid in elementary school or preschool, you play the parachute game where everyone stands around a parachute and you wave it up and down with balls in the middle. And then at the end, like the big finale, you all go up and then you get inside and you pull it down and then you're all inside the parachute and it's super cool.
Oh, the big giant parachute in elementary school was way awesome.
I remember I'd always leave a crack behind me and try to make it collapse on everyone before we got out.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, all right, that's awesome for little kids, and I could even enjoy doing that once or twice now. So the scene is we're at a college campus. In the distance to the right is a group of parents and prospective students getting a tour of the campus. Our protagonists in the window are narrating. They're obviously high.
They're way high.
You hear them coughing.
They are stoned.
However, they're that cool college kind of stone, not that damn it Dwayne kind of stone.
Yeah, they're still stoned.
Now, I'm not saying that stoned is awesome, but there's a difference between the cool stone guy who you just kind of go hey to and walk away, and damn it Dwayne.
Yeah, there is.
And now move forward a bit, and in the center of the screen, there's a parachute. And there are obviously a bunch of people playing the parachute game inside the parachute.
There's just a bunch of people sitting in it, and it's sort of full of air, and it's kind of moving around like a little colorful mushroom on the ground. Standing
outside of the parachute is a police officer.
Or perhaps a campus security guy. We can't tell.
It looks like an actual police officer.
It does.
Then again, RIT's campus safety looked like actual police officers.
Yeah, they sure did.
Of course, when they got hit with that bottle, they left, and then the real police officers came, followed by the riot police.
They sure did.
We told that story, didn't we?
I'm sure we must have.
If we didn't, we were involved in a riot once. And we got
Quote riot, yeah, not much of a riot.
I got pepperballed. It wasn't cool.
Well, indirectly.
Yes, it wasn't cool.
No, it wasn't cool.
I imagine directly is that times a million, and I imagine it's sucking.
Yeah, something like that.
But, so, in that parachute, there are 20, maybe 25 people. Now, what are they doing? They're hotboxing. Hotboxing is a term for smoking weed in a group in an enclosed space.
I was not aware of this until just now.
Now, that is probably the most efficient way to smoke your drug of choice. And
I
furthermore,
imagine so, because you're all the secondary smoke, you're saving it up. You know, you can keep inhaling it even when you're not, smoking directly. If you're passing something around, you're always getting some. It's not bad.
And also, imagine the atmosphere. Even if you think marijuana, like you're against drugs and that sort of thing, and whatever. Imagine the people in that balloon. They're probably having
Parachute.
Yeah, parachute. Yeah, in a balloon, not such a good idea.
No.
They're probably having a freaking good time. I imagine that being a chaotic and wonderful environment in there, if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, think about that. You got the thrill of doing it in public, out in the open, with a whole bunch of people. You're also playing the parachute game, which is fun in and of itself. And you're stoned, which makes everything that's fun 1,000 times more fun, even if it's not fun to begin with.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
supposedly.
So the campus safety or police officer obviously knows what's going on. And Benny hilarity ensues. Now, I got something to say about that, because someone put the Benny Hill, a.k.a. Yakety Sax, over the end of this.
Yeah, people call this song like the Benny Hill song. No, the song is called Yakety Sax. Get it right. Benny Hill is just someone who happened to use the song.
We've realized that there are probably 3 tiers of people out there, and I think that the tier that Scott and I are in are the minority by far.
I don't know. I think the first group is the minority. The people who actually saw Benny Hill back in the day.
I saw Benny Hill every day as a kid.
Oh, wow, I didn't.
I'd come home from school, right? In middle school. And every day on TV as I came home was Monty Python's Flying Circus, 2 episodes of it, and then Benny Hill.
We did not have the luxury of that.
Yeah, well, I had Canadian TV, and let me tell you what, Canadian TV is American TV times 1,000.
Yeah, but no, so there's people who actually know who the fuck Benny Hill is, right? Then there's people like me, where I'd come home from school and I'd watch cartoons, but in the middle of those cartoons, there'd be commercials from local cable television trying to sell, like, CD compilations, like, Pure Funk and whatnot. Actually, Pure Funk's not bad, but I have it. But they also tried to sell, like, Benny Hill VHS tapes and DVDs. And they would always play that song. And a lot of people, all they know of Benny Hill is that commercial that everyone must have seen.
But then I realized that there's probably a 3rd tier. And these are the people who only know of this through parody. They've seen Family Guys and Simpsons and YouTube videos making fun of this and parodying it and using that song.
And they've seen everyone using this song in all sorts of videos and other places and saying Benny Hill in association with the song.
And they probably don't even know who Benny Hill is. Granted, I'll admit I didn't find Benny Hill that funny.
No, he's not that funny.
He's no Monty Python's Flying Circus.
He's just sort of a classic, generic, slapstick kind of ha-ha funny guy. But he's not super funny. But he's worthy of respect, and you shouldn't be going around saying Benny Hill if you don't know who the hell it is.
Well, let me say this. The sheer number of stoners who escaped from that parachute is epic, I'll leave it at that.
The cop should have gotten some backup to surround the parachute. Then it would have been even more hilarious.
He should have just opened fire. I don't know.
I don't think he can do that.
He could have just said, "We've got you surrounded. Nobody move."
He could have tased them, bro.
Don't tase them, bro.
Just tase the whole balloon.
All right, so what do you got for me?
What do I have?
Oh, no thing of the day? Did you forget?
No, I sent the link to you, and then I sort of...
Did you get so caught up in my thing of the day that you forgot your own thing of the day?
No, but I already used my thing there. It was choose your own adventure graph.
Oh, yeah, it was. Never mind.
Dumbass.
I'm dumb.
That's why you're confusing me.
So, I have a memory. This memory is of being at Cedar Point when I was a kid, a young kid. And Cedar Point, I don't know if it's still there, but for much of my childhood...
I think Cedar Point is still there.
No. This thing at Cedar Point.
All right.
Because in Cedar Point was an arcade. A massive arcade. And half of this arcade had new games, but half of the arcade had basically Katsukan's video gaming room times 1,000. They had every old arcade cabinet ever.
Man, I remember when there were big arcades like that. Those are the days.
As much as I love roller coasters, I would spend half a day in this arcade at Cedar Point every year.
You want to go to New Hampshire and go to the fun spot?
We should. But honestly, if it's still there... The arcade at Cedar Point with the classic arcade games was the best fucking arcade I've ever been in my life.
Sesame Street also has a very impressive arcade, but Fun Spot is by far the #1 arcade. There is no question.
But anyway, I remember a time in my life. I was young. And you know, when you're out with your parents on a vacation, you often don't get to slip away and hang out with nerdly geeks or people who are into the things you're into. Well, at one point, I remember I saw these like 4 punk kids playing, and they were about my age, a little older, you know, hip and cool kids. And they were playing the Simpsons arcade game. And they had been playing it for a while. And I remember 2 of them left. So I walked over with my mom, and we started playing with them. And I learned at that moment that anyone can be friends with anyone if standing in front of and playing a walk sideways beat 'em up in an arcade. Let me tell you, the level of camaraderie in that game was to the point that it has rarely been duplicated in my life.
Let me tell you, it was I don't know if it was my birthday party or someone else's, but it was at the, you know, somewhat relatively local arcade type place. And, you know, if you're at someone's birthday party, you get a cup full of fucking tokens. And they had, you know, the 6-seat X-Men machine with the 2 monitors.
Oh, man.
And
nothing moves the blob. Nothing moves the blob except Cyclops.
That thing, we rocked it. I rocked it from the start. And, you know, other kids switched in and out. But I was Cyclops from beginning to end, baby. That was some good times.
There's something about those walk sideways co-op beat-em-up games where, especially in the arcade, even though really it was just an exercise in pumping quarters in until you win, and skill would basically reduce the number of quarters somewhat, but not as much as you'd think.
Yeah, that was pretty much. I mean, because you could only get like your power so many times, which would clear out the screen, right? So you could sort of work together.
It was all about Colossus.
And it would be like, okay, on this screen we can beat up the guys with our normal powers.
Or
on
Dazzler.
this screen we can beat up our guys' normal powers. Okay, we're not going to beat this screen unless someone uses a power. You use the power. Ah, okay.
Plus, you know, people just knowing common sense, like how to fight the boss. Jump, strike, jump away. Jump, strike, jump away. Stand back while he does his thing.
Ninja Turtles was all about that. Because you had the jump kick, the jump slash, and the regular slashes, and you had to mix them up just properly. And you could actually... Ninja Turtles had some, I guess, minor amounts of skill to it. If you knew how to fight each kind of guy without getting hit, you could get really far without putting in too many quarters.
But there is definitely something about the formula of those arcade beat-em-ups where even though the skill didn't matter so much, it was just a matter of basically pumping in order to be cool and still be there with everyone. But for some reason, these games fostered this sense of friendship, and you get really into it, and it would always become like this epic quest, like, hey guys, wanna fucking beat the Simpsons? Yeah, let's go. Wanna beat Dungeons and Dragons? Woo!
Oh, the Dungeons and Dragons one. Oh, I forgot about
Golden
that.
Axe.
Yeah. But no, yeah, basically the side-scrolling beat 'em up. I mean, there were co-op games before, but the side-scrolling beat 'em up is the original co-op genre as far as I'm concerned, you know? I mean, you look, those are the first games where people were like, okay, we're in this together. You know, you take the right, you take the left, you do this, you do that, you use your power, I'll use mine, etc., etc.
Now, of course, arcade, non-arcade, regardless, far and away, I think the best one of these ever is River City Ransom, but that deserves a show in and of itself, so we're not even going to talk about it.
Well, we can talk about it a little bit.
All right, it's fucking awesome.
River City Ransom was great, was better than other games. Even it was way ahead of its time because unlike other side-scrolling beat-em-ups, River City Ransom, the items actually worked properly.
It was somewhat non-linear.
It had RPG elements of getting money and buying shit.
It was really funny.
You could actually go anywhere you wanted instead of just continually going right, beating up the bad guys, go right, beat up the bad guys. It was actually really complex for the NES. And yeah,
if ever a game
the
has
music
been,
was awesome.
Ever a game has been in such dire need of a proper, perfectly
They're
done.
remaking the dodgeball on the DS. They gotta bring back the River City Ransom.
Oh god, Super Dodgeball
That's
is
not
still,
a beat 'em up. You can't talk about it.
But
right
it's
now.
one of my favorite games in any medium ever. That game. Oh, that game. Oh.
You know, the Ninja Turtles one, I want to go talk about that because Ninja Turtles game in the arcade, it was pretty awesome. It's one of those arcade games that, you know, it works so well because, you know, 4 turtles. Oh, it makes sense. 4 joysticks. Hey, you know, it was.
You fight the Bebop, you fight the Rocksteady.
For a large portion of my childhood, that was pretty much the game that was in every arcade. And it was just like the cartoon. And this is a period of time where the arcade was superior to the home console, period.
Yeah, people would always talk like, man, imagine if you could have arcade graphics at home. And that was why the Neo Geo was so legendary among kids, but no one actually had it.
Yeah, but the thing is I had the Ninja Turtles 2 arcade edition for the NES.
And it was almost as good.
It was almost as good as the original. You had all the same moves. There were actually 2 additional levels in the game. The only things that were different was that you could actually sort of get to the end of the game with, the number of, lives they gave you. You could beat the game and without spending any money, well, except for the $50 to buy it. And the music was a little worse. The graphics were a little worse. But and the one part that I think was the most disappointing was that they took out the part of the game where you fight Bebop and Rocksteady at the same time.
That was a good part of the game.
Yeah, but they added in other parts like riding the skateboards and fighting the wolf guy and the level with the tigers. Yeah, that was a good one.
I think my favorite of the arcade ones, however, X-Men has a special place in my heart. I was always Colossus.
Well, X-Men, unlike Simpsons and Ninja Turtles, I think those games were all on the same engine, although I don't want to look it up right now.
They feel like they were.
They feel like they were the same engine with different graphics on them. But the X-Men had the 6 players, which really, and it was at the height of the popularity of X-Men. That helped it a lot.
Yeah, that was like cartoon X-Men. That's the only X-Men I really, really like.
Yeah.
But those were good games. But I think my favorite arcade walk sideways beat 'em up will always be Final Fight.
Final Fight was in the arcade? Final Fight was like an NES SNES game.
I'm pretty sure there was an arcade version.
I've never played an arcade Final Fight.
Anyway, what's your favorite game? And I'll look that shit up.
Let's see. Streets of Rage. There's like a whole series of Streets of Rage. And, I think Streets of Rage 2 might be the best, or at least my most favorite. But all the Streets of Rages are kind of good because the thing about those is that you had this choice of characters. I liked all the characters, but Blaze was actually pretty hot. One of the first characters when you're like, a 13-year-old. In those days, you'd try to be like doing a jump kick so you could see more leg action.
It was released in the arcade in January of 1990.
Wow. I have never seen a Final Fight.
Yeah.
But you know what I have seen that we'd be sinful not to mention? The Double Dragons.
Because we'll talk about Double Dragon in a second.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, there was nothing in my childhood more satisfying than, as Hagar, taking a guy, shoving his face into my butt, and crushing him.
Yeah. In Streets of Rage, you would, grab onto someone's head, flip over them, flip back over them just infinitely because it was fun, then push another button and throw them across the screen at other guys who would then get hit. That was good times. And also, Streets of Rage had the good weapons. It was mostly like a Nintendo had all the Final Fights and Genesis had all the Streets of Rages. And they were basically, technically mostly the same kind of game. Neither one was technically superior to the other. They just had different characters, different settings. I guess Streets of Rage, you had the sort of push the button and the cop car shoots a missile at the screen action. But Final Fight had the push a button and you sort of throw a fireball, which kills all the guys action. I
remember in I think it was Streets of Rage on the Sega Game Gear.
Yeah, there probably was.
Not
right?
a great game. No, I had it.
No, but the thing is, these beat 'em up games are largely dead. With kind of good reason. I remember I played some sort of 3D beat 'em up-ish game on the PS1 where like you'd walk around these like small 3D areas beating guys up. It was kind of and I don't. Since then, I think there's like been games like God Hand and whatever, but not too many. Beat 'em up is sort of a...
Well, I think it's more that they're not super popular.
No, not really. Even though I think if they were brought back properly, they would be super popular. Like River City Ransom could still do really well. If you just, like Streets of Rage probably wouldn't do that well today because it's pretty much walk sideways, push B, occasionally push A, right? But River City Ransom, where you got weapons that actually work smartly and such... I think that would be really popular now.
You know what also would probably work really, really well, but it would take some doing? This is one of those, pie in the sky ideas. And this is also, when I say MMO, ignore everything bullshit you know about MMOs. MMO does not mean WoW. It does not mean MMORPG. But imagine a massively multiplayer online River City Ransom or equivalent.
Isn't that basically what that City of Heroes is supposed to be?
Yeah, but it could have been done so much better, and I have a lot to say about that.
I've never played it, so I don't know. But that's what that's what people basically said.
Yeah, but I think
superhero 3D beat 'em up MMO.
I think it could have been executed a lot better and with a lot less of the bad trappings of most MMO games today.
Yeah. See, the thing is, after, the super early beat 'em ups, right? You pretty much a Double Dragon was like, the game that's, I don't know if that was the first one, but that was the first one that sort of got
It was
the ball
all
rolling.
about the elbow.
Yeah. The problem with Double Dragon, right, is
Double
that...
Dragon 2, great game. Double Dragon 3, one of the worst fucking games ever made.
Well, not that, but is that Double Dragon as a whole, the controls really were not good. You push one button to attack to the right and another button to attack to the left, and that was sort of like, it just didn't work out very well at all.
Well, the thing is, a lot of these games came out in the early days when controls weren't fully standardized yet, and people, Renegade, I remember, depending on which direction you were facing, different buttons did different things, and it was just so confusing.
Yeah, but Double Dragon, it's a classic, and Double Dragon 2 is probably the best of the bunch, but the controls can be quite annoying. It's not obvious how to do the jump spinning kick, but it's pretty much necessary to be able to do it on command in order to win.
Well, Double Dragon 3, I think we can watch the Angry Video Game Nerd about that bullshit.
Oh, you sure can. But, when Double Dragon sort of later Double Dragon games, they made it into a stupid fighting game, and then a stupid cartoon based on the stupid fighting game, and that's when it stopped being a beat 'em up, and that's when the final fights and the Streets of Rages came in.
Pretty much, though. If you've never played one of these games before, don't go out and play them by yourself because they're not fun. You really need to play these games with someone. So if you're ever at an arcade with your friends, some sort of classic arcade somewhere, and you see a Simpsons arcade machine, grab 3 friends and just decide you're going to beat it, and you will probably have a good time, even though the game itself, from a technical level, is not that good.
Yeah, the Simpsons one actually is a very good choice, because imagine 2 people who have never played a beat 'em up, trying to play Streets of Rage. It might get kind of boring. It's pretty much okay, we're beating up different guys with different hair color. Okay, now we're beating up a fat guy. Okay, now we're beating up a bartender. It's all right, come on. And then at the end of the game, you beat up a businessman with a gun. Oh my God, a gun, right? But The Simpsons actually has all sorts of Simpsons shit going on all over the place. And it's actually, the stuff that's on screen while the game itself is just a beat 'em up. The stuff on screen can be very entertaining if you're a Simpsons fan at all.
I played that game with my parents more than once, and they enjoyed it.
Yeah, just like the Ninja Turtles one is only really entertaining if you know something about Ninja Turtles, at least the cartoon, and you're a fan, then that game will really, really work for you because you'll see all kinds of stuff. Be like, oh man, look at that. Oh man, look at that.
Is that all we have to say?
I don't know. You got anything to say about beat 'em ups?
Not terribly. It seems like it's kind of like when we played Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Beat 'em ups, as they have pretty much always been implemented, with the possible exception of River City Ransom, are primarily games of the experience. And by the experience, I mean the experience of playing them with someone else.
Yeah, there's not much. Some of them can be really hard, and some of them can have sort of complex, near fighting game level.
But you're not going to have fun playing the X-Men arcade game all the way through by yourself.
No, not too much. It's pretty much hold to the right. Whenever a bad guy gets near you, tap the button repeatedly.
And remember that nothing moves the blob except
moves
Cyclops.
The blob.
Cyclops moves the blob very easily.
Pretty much anyone moves the blob very easily just by hitting it.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.